Memory chip prices surged 90% in a single quarter. Three companies control nearly all global supply, and they just chose AI over your phone, your laptop, your next console. What the industry calls Ramageddon is only getting started. Contracts for DRAM memory chips jumped by as much as 95% in the first quarter of 2026, according to TrendForce. By the second quarter, contract prices climbed another 58 to 63%. NAND flash memory, which powers SSD and phone storage, saw its own contract prices spike 70 to 75% in the same period. These figures reflect the negotiated cost for future supply, not just the volatile spot prices seen in retail. Memory now stands apart as the main driver of cost increases for electronics, outpacing changes in processors or displays. The crisis has earned the nickname Ramageddon among analysts and industry insiders. Deloitte reports that DRAM costs for AI servers roughly doubled in the first quarter and could rise fourfold over the year, though this annual forecast remains a reported projection, not a confirmed outcome. Three types of memory chips shape the modern electronic supply chain. Standard DRAM acts as the working memory for active computing tasks. NAND flash stores data persistently, from smartphone photos to SSD files. High bandwidth memory, or HBM, is a vertically stacked chip engineered to feed data-hungry AI processors at speeds far beyond ordinary DRAM. In 2026, AI data centers are projected to consume around 70% of all memory chips produced worldwide, a figure that combines these categories and highlights the scale of the shift. Samsung, SK Hynix, and Micron, together controlling more than 95% of global DRAM output, have responded to this demand by redirecting much of their capacity toward HBM. AI customers are willing to pay more and commit to long-term contracts, making HBM far more profitable than the interchangeable, lower-margin DRAM used in phones, PCs, and game consoles. But HBM production requires extra processing steps and advanced packaging, so once a wafer is allocated to HBM, it cannot be quickly switched back to standard modules. As a result, fewer conventional memory chips are available for everyday devices. This is not a temporary production hiccup. The concentrated structure of the memory market means that new manufacturing capacity, enough to ease the squeeze, is not expected until 2029 or 2030. Until then, the allocation question is not just about making more chips, but about who gets access to memory that is already being promised to the highest bidder. HP's finance chief reported that memory and storage costs now make up about 35% of a typical PC's bill of materials, up from 15 to 18% just a year earlier. That means for every dollar spent building a computer, over a third now goes to memory chips alone. HP, along with Dell, Lenovo, Acer, and Asus, has warned that these costs could drive retail prices up by 15 to 20% in 2026. In industry terms, the bill of materials includes everything inside the device: memory, storage, processor, display, battery, chassis, and assembly. Where memory was once just one line item among many, it now dominates the economics of PC manufacturing. The pressure is not limited to computers. Qualcomm announced double-digit price hikes on its Snapdragon phone chips starting September 1st, 2026, citing rising supplier costs, especially memory. CEO Cristiano Amon made the company's stance clear. Cost went up, prices are going to go up. For phone makers, the options are stark: raise prices, use older components, accept slimmer margins, or reduce memory specifications. IDC projects that average smartphone prices will jump 14% to a record $523 in 2026, with the lowest cost models disappearing from shelves. Budget buyers are hit hardest, since there's little room to absorb higher costs without downgrading features. Gaming consoles are also caught in the squeeze. While each brand uses different memory configurations, all compete for the same shrinking pool of standard DRAM and NAND. Manufacturers have not confirmed model-specific cuts, but the risk of higher prices or lower specs is real. Apple's latest earnings call signaled that DRAM constraints could restrict 2026 production of new iPhone and Mac devices. In Tim Cook's words, this is a 100-year flood. For consumers, the immediate trade-off is clear. Pay more for the same device, settle for less memory at a similar price, or wait longer as production slows. Deloitte projects that the combined capital expenditure of Samsung, SK Hynix, and Micron will soar by nearly 340% between 2024 and 2027, as each company races to build new memory fabs and upgrade existing lines. But these investments move slowly. Constructing a modern facility means acquiring land, building clean rooms, installing precision equipment, qualifying the process, and then ramping up yields, a sequence that stretches over years. Capital can be committed long before a single usable chip reaches device makers. Most of this new capacity is earmarked for advanced memory, especially HBM and server-grade DRAM, not the lower-cost chips used in everyday electronics. Analysts warn that the shortage could persist until at least 2029, with SK Hynix's leadership suggesting it may extend beyond 2030. In the meantime, budget devices face the sharpest impact. Instead of raising prices outright, manufacturers are quietly reducing baseline RAM or storage to keep headline prices stable. This preserves affordability, but shifts the compromise to performance and longevity, a difficult trade-off for buyers with limited options. The reality is that even aggressive expansion will prioritize the highest margin demand, leaving mainstream consumers to absorb the consequences of an AI-driven supply chain. Memory manufacturers now face a crossroads. Accelerating factory construction and qualification could, in theory, bring relief sooner. But even if new lines open ahead of schedule, the chips produced may already be spoken for, locked into contracts with AI hyperscalers, not earmarked for affordable consumer devices. The allocation risk remains. Faster output does not guarantee that mainstream phones, PCs, or gaming consoles will see lower prices or restored memory specs. Through at least 2027, consumers are likely to encounter a menu of difficult choices: higher prices, reduced RAM or storage, delayed upgrades, or fewer budget options. In some cases, a device may keep its headline price by quietly cutting memory, trading long-term performance for short-term affordability. Meanwhile, the cost pressure from AI infrastructure ripples outward, raising prices for any product that relies on embedded chips. From smart appliances to industrial equipment, two futures compete: a temporary cycle where new capacity and stabilized AI demand restore balance, or a lasting shift where premium infrastructure always takes priority and standard devices remain squeezed. Whether this is a passing storm or the new normal depends on how quickly factories ramp, how AI spending evolves, and who controls the next wave of memory allocation. The answer is still unknown. Right now, AI's appetite for memory is reshaping the cost of every device. As supply lags and priorities shift, the real question is whether affordable technology ever fully returns.